Okay, we're here today at the Chesapeake Today outdoor studio at Fitzy's Marina on the beautiful Breton Bay here at Compton at the end of Joe Hazel Road. Check out their information on their Facebook page for Fitzy's Restaurant Marina. They open on Saturday, May 14th at noon. Our guest today is St. Mary's County Commissioner President Randy Guy. Randy is running for a third term as county commissioner, and we're going to ask him now to tell you a little bit about himself, his military, his business and professional career, and political career. Go.
Okay. Well, of course, I was born and raised in St. Mary's County, as you well know, and then after high school, I ended up going into the Air Force for 26 years. Great career, and of course, set the goal for the rest of my life. Once I got out of the Air Force, I came back home here and started a small business, Southern Maryland Pools and Spas, for almost 12 years. Also in that same time period, right after that, I got on the Central Committee for 4 years, voted in, and then I was on the Board of Appeals for 5.5 years. And towards the end of that, I decided to run for County Commissioner President, which I did and won in November of 2014, and December, of course, took over the board. And once again, ran again in 2017, 2018, and I'm finishing up that term right now, which will be over by the first week in December. I'm hoping to get everybody's vote and to run again for a third term. I enjoy running. I enjoy the challenges of being the Commissioner President, setting the agenda, and I'm also on the Veterans Regional Area Council. I'm the chairman of that for Tri-County area. I'm also on the Board of Directors with MACO, which is our legislative branch up in Annapolis. I travel up there every Wednesday during the general session to work on bills that might affect St. Mary's County.
What do you believe your major accomplishments are over the last 8 years as a county commissioner president?
Well, we've stepped forward, and believe it or not, FDR Boulevard was sort of a dream since the mid-'70s, and we finally got the commissioners to step forward, and actually we're going to complete that. It may not be done this year, but hopefully by next year we'll have the complete boulevard all the way from the main gate at the base all the way down to the Wildwood Boulevard area, and that's one of our main goals, is to get that done as a county project. We also are getting ready to open up our new adoption center for pets, the animal control area, and that's also on FDR Boulevard, right there behind the housing unit there, but just right behind the Lowe's and area through there, and that will be opening up probably this midsummer. We'll have it completely open, so you don't have to go very far to adopt a pet. We also did the senior center and also the Leonardtown Library, all encompassed in one building, saving millions of dollars by putting them both together, and that's been completed and is well used at this time. We're also doing expansions at the airport. The airport is a major thing for our area because, let's face it, aviation is a big thing in St. Mary's County with the base, and we opened up just recently the new University of Maryland autonomous vehicle assembly plant there and experimental labs, a $90 million structure that's bringing the autonomous vehicles. The wave of the future is the battery operated items and various other water, sea, land and aviation type of vehicles, and we got this big experimental building right here in St. Mary's County. And also we are working very much on agricultural, since we are an agricultural community. We just recently opened up up in Charlotte Hall a new vegetable and other processing meats and everything else to be sold there, and right now its vendors is already full already and it's being well used. We got 3 different centers in the county, plus the local stands you see throughout the county. We are definitely pushing for as much as possible on keeping our agricultural going. So we got a great mix. We are a rural county, but at the same time, we got high tech, and we got those out there that are farming as well as watermen, and we've done a great accomplishment here. We also did a great job of accomplishing and maintaining various waterfront parks. Latest acquisitions, of course, was Snow Hill and Shannon Farm south of the base. These are 2 great locations with beaches and everything, because we have so many people. We're surrounded by 550 miles of water, but there's limited access to most of the people in our county. Not everybody has waterfront property.
When will the county ever let there be truly public use at the Myrtle Point Park?
That's a good question. That'll probably be my next term. I'll be looking at that more closely. We have done some better access to it at this time. We slowly have made better access to that point. It was a little hard to get down there because we had limited, you might say, access. My point is to work hard to have more of an access to Myrtle
Well,
Point.
for years there were a small group of neighbors who called themselves the Friends of Myrtle Point Park, but basically are nobody's friends because they didn't want any active use of the park. No boat ramp. There's 2 miles of waterfront there, and no boat ramp. No fishing pier. There's deep water very close to the shore, so you'd only have to put out a small access place to some of the best fishing, but it's not there.
Yeah. And
they didn't even want sports fields in there.
I still don't understand that to this point. We got a great water point, and I myself will be looking a little hard at that this coming year if I get reelected.
Okay, another question. It's great to see a new vendor area up there at the north end, but the farmers market that was on the corner there next to the library was a place that everybody could see when they're coming down the road, and now you see nothing. Is there vendors going to be allowed to come back in there?
No.
Why not?
That was sort of a contentious thing here. The libraries were a little upset that so many people were there. It took away part of their parking and everything. So,
I mean, more people wanted tomatoes than they wanted books?
It could
At least that's their choice, right? It's public property.
Actually, the ones that it was sort of distraction, and it was on a main highway, and actually for the safety of the vendors, because most of them there seem to be Amish and Mennonite who use their horse and buggies, it's probably safer to be on where they're at now. And they seem to be very, we had the grand opening here just recently.
Were there any incidents of any hazards or accidents of people crashing into the park, into the vendor area from the highway?
Not lately, no.
No, did it happen at all?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So safety wasn't really an issue.
Well, we feel it was part of
it was more, it was the people running the library didn't want them around, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I just, I would say that it did counter, to their production there too. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the north end always seems to be on the short end of the totem pole and stuff in the county. Do you think that's still continuing, or has it changed?
I would say there's just slowly changing. We're trying to get more and more up there. It's we're also working on a processing. You might say a meat and what do you call it, cottage food industrial processing area that's going to be built up there, and that will help out also. And it's we don't want to put too much up there. I mean, it's the people are not really screaming for it, but hopefully as the years go on, there'll be more and more produced up there too.
Well, in 2014, one candidate running for the House of Delegates said, keep Waldorf in Waldorf. That was Puff Bartholomew. Do you see the development that you've been allowing over the last 8 years to be actually bringing the development characteristic of Waldorf here? Or?
Well, I don't think so. We're fortunate down here because we're more of a, let's put it, I call it a dead-end county. You go further south, you end up going to Point Lookout, and that's as far as you can go. So there's not any major thoroughfares going through here, no train tracks, there's no major interstate highway. And the thing of it is, I think that we got slow growth. As a matter of fact, there's a very big serious shortage of real estate right now in the county. And so actually, I don't think we're going to have any large growth. In the last 10 years, this last census, I think there was about a 9,000 person increase in our county in 10 years. I think that's modest.
Well, Calvert County stopped a lot of the big box growth and a lot of the garden apartments and townhouses for that very reason. Of course, Charles County never bothered to stop, and it's become a different place.
Yeah.
It's like a little, it's a city. What about now in the same areas? Are you going to see this kind of rapid development and growth continue?
No. I don't see mainly single-family homes. A minimal amount of that kind of growth down here. I don't really see it as strong.
Well, yeah, one of your Democrat candidates for commissioner, I think his name is Brandon Russell, is talking about having as many as 10 town centers around. Is that going to happen?
No. We've already designated town centers. We have them now. The other ones are more or less small hubs like Clements. I mean, it's not going to be any large development around that area. So it's no, I don't see that.
What do you need in Clements besides a traffic circle?
That's we wanted. Traffic circle. Okay. It works fine.
Okay.
It minimizes the accidents, that's for sure, rather than a four-way stop.
In your 8 years as a commissioner, have you raised taxes?
We did one time, now we're lowering them back down.
Okay. You have a budget you've signed off on now to take to hearings. I think there's one tonight, correct?
Yes, there is. 6:30 tonight at Chopticon High School.
Okay. You're not maintaining the constant yield to avoid a tax hike. You've only maintained it halfway.
We've maintained the same yield in the last 7.5 years.
Yeah, but the budget you're proposing right now does have a tax hike to it, though, correct?
No, it doesn't. We're decreasing the income tax to 3%.
Okay, so there's not going to be any increase in taxes then?
No.
Okay. All right. You all caught a lot of hell recently over this pot farm factory out in April in the 7th District. There doesn't seem to have been any public hearing process for that. Why is that?
That is probably the only mistake that was made. There was not a public process.
Well, that's a pretty big mistake, isn't it?
Well, it's and the buck stops with all the commissioners. There's no doubt about it. Somebody should have caught that. But our land use and growth management people followed the regulations that are currently in place. Right now, the Planning Commission has a public hearing on 9th of May to re-look at possible zoning changes or planning use change if needed. We don't know yet what they've come up with, but that'll be, public hearing will be on the 9th of May to address that.
So that's the pot factory in April is in a critical area. Right now, we're vulnerable to having similar facilities go into other residential neighborhoods in the critical areas around the county. Is that correct?
No.
But then
we will not. We will try to. The only reason it's in the critical area there is because it's considered to be by the state of Maryland an agricultural product, and if it's on an agricultural piece of land, like an RPD type of piece of land, it's exempt from critical area.
do you know who the money people are that's behind it and who owns it? And they even got reprimanded by the state of Maryland for swapping stock around without letting the Marijuana Control Board know. I mean,
I'm unfamiliar, but I know it's a LLC type of group. I don't have any idea who the principal people are.
So could they be Chicago gangsters, maybe? I mean, wouldn't you ask the state police or the sheriff's department to look into it?
I would say it's mainly probably local investors.
Okay.
That's my vision. I mean, I don't know.
Local investors with bent noses, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't have that information.
All right. You have a $26 million sheriff's palace in your capital budget that you're taking to the public hearing tonight over the next 3 years. $700,000 of it will be in the next fiscal year for the planning. Mm-hmm. Who developed this plan? Did you have a citizen committee that you appointed for it?
It's gone through the normal procurement process. I don't know if it was a citizen committee that's looked at it.
Who's proposing the plan? Are you proposing it?
No, I did not.
Well, who did?
It's been proposed for years. Probably before my time that it started it.
Okay, but is it
we're
like
right now? I'm not
is
sure.
it the staff that's developed it?
Well, they're working on the development. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So the bureaucrats are asking for more space for sheriff's headquarters.
Well, it may not be as much as it was before. We opened up 3 substations now, and that sort of helps to.
But your proposal right now is $26 million.
Okay.
You know, so basically the staff is saying we want more space. Okay, you have a son. Would you let your son go out and design a house and then turn around and tell you got to pay for it?
No.
But that's what you're doing to the taxpayers.
The taxpayers, they'll have their hearings on this. It won't be.
I know, but having a hearing is completely different. You walk into the circuit courthouse right now and look on the wall when you walk in. You'll see a plaque from a citizens committee appointed to come up with the conception and design of that courthouse originally.
Right.
Okay? But you can't point to anything like that right now, can you? For the new sheriff's palace.
I don't do with the courthouse. I don't know.
Okay. Well, go take a look sometime.
I'm sorry. I got to put my glasses on. I have eye problems here.
Oh, that's
and I
that's
cannot
okay.
stand the sun anymore. Yeah.
No, people understand.
Okay.
So you're not getting the answers to the questions on the back of those glasses or anything? These aren't those Apple glasses?
There's nothing there.
Okay, just checking. All right. So the sheriff, you just let him have a $6 million facility down on Great Mills Road, and it looks like crime is worse than ever. And basically, all I can figure is it's a place for them to go to the bathroom securely. There's not much other point for it. There was a sheriff's station at Carver Heights and down at Southampton, and that was a place they could go in and refuel and whatnot. But if that's $6 million, it could have bought 41 deputies. You know, but your crime is worse, your building is up, and you have shootings, murders, armed robberies, and a lot of drug dealing. I know you're not the sheriff, but have you called the sheriff on the carpet for the crime problem?
Well, the thing of it is, I just fund, we as a commissioner, we fund the sheriff. It's true.
Right.
And that was a request for that section of Lexington Park to put their substation was made, and they had it done. But a lot of things have changed since last 2 years we've been through this COVID, everything. It's been a lot of lockdown and a lot of frustrated people, and I'm assuming that's part of the crime increase for this, and I'm hoping he's getting a better handle on it. But I can't really make a judgment on what he's doing about this or not.
Okay. Well, in regards to traffic, you've talked about FDR Boulevard, the Thomas Johnson Bridge. It's still sitting there. I remember for years Senator Dyson would go in with proposals for a new bridge to replace the one there. The state highway has come up with several concept plans, but basically nobody's ever done anything.
Right.
And it was only opened in 1977, and they built a 2-lane bridge that used to have 2-lane roads going to it.
Right.
And now in Calvertside, there's a 4-lane road going to it, so it's automatic quagmire there.
Right.
And in St. Mary's side, the state highway came along and made a little wider 2-lane road.
Correct.
So really, this is like the armpit of Maryland when it comes to public transportation. Is that not correct?
I'm called the armpit of Maryland. We've improved our local transportation system.
Well, the St. Mary's County Commissioners owned the railroad right-of-way, and over the years they gave away easements and cuts across it, and then you put it down a bike trail across it, anything like that, when you really could have had an extension of commuter rail down off the CSX rail line coming from Bowie. But nothing's ever happened.
Nobody could do a commuter rail down to
Yeah, the Democrats all posed to in the middle of the CSX railroad line in Waldorf in 2006 for a photo, claiming they would bring it in. No. Nothing ever happened.
No way. It never happened.
So
it's just like all the promises to do FDR Boulevard from the 70s until we took over in 2014.
Yeah, and then the gridlock at Great Mills Road and Route 5 in Great Mills, that's continued. And the Democrats who are running things in, nothing has ever happened. A county commissioner.
The Democrat promised to have something done, and nothing's been
now
done.
you've had a Republican county commissioner from Lexington Park for 12 years. It still hadn't been done. It seems like this is a bipartisan effort to do nothing. Is that correct?
Well, bipartisan, we got to have everybody to work on this, but the state is pretty much locking down and putting their monies up into the northern part of the state. I should say the counties that surround Washington, D.C. are getting most of the funding for all their rail lines and blue lines and whatever else they put in, purple line, whatever.
Well, Virginia has great roads. Maybe St. Mary's County should petition Virginia to annex St. Mary's County to Virginia. You think that would help?
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen either. You're talking about some definitely dreams, you might say.
All we need is a bridge.
It's never going to happen. Well, the bridge is supposed to be, I hate to say this, but Senator Cardin and Hoyer have both expressed they were supposed to come down here and make some kind of announcement talking about that bridge and putting some funding forward to it. But we haven't heard anything yet. So
well, you know what they say, money talks and you know what walks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just what we've been dealing with. And getting the state to do anything down here is very tough. You got to understand the state cut our funding for highway user fund by about $6 million back in 2007, 2008. And they haven't done anything to push it back up yet since then. We're getting a little bit of increase this year finally, but nowhere near what we used to get. So we have to use a lot of our own operating money to just do asphalt overlay. We got to take care of the roads, so we're having to fund it ourselves.
Well, it used to be the seniority in Congress meant something, but Steny Hoyer's been there for 40 years. He's 83. He wants another 2 years, And now I read today where they're turning the Holiday Inn at Solomon's into a nursing home.
Oh, no. Well, it might be a good use of it. I don't know. If they can't get customers there to use the...
Maybe they'll have a Hoyer suite there at that nursing home. Okay.
And Hoyer's a resident of St. Mary's County.
Yeah, well, people in this county stopped voting for him. He hadn't won it in the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So don't blame St. Mary's for Hoyer being there, but he not doing too much.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Both Republican and Democrat governors have done a pretty good job of ignoring the transportation needs of this area.
Oh, no doubt.
Actually, I hate to say it, but the best one that ever got anything done was Glenn Denning.
You're probably right.
All right.
You're right.
Okay, so you're going to call the sheriff on the carpet about his palace?
Well, I want to hear more about it before we get final.
Could we have less palace and more deputies?
Definitely. Well, let's put it this way: we've authorized him for more deputies. We've raised their salary probably almost 30% in the last 7 years, and they're still having a problem recruiting people. It's been a tough road for the law enforcement.
Well, Sheriff Kerman was paying $3,000 a month to rent the old Bell Motor property to park empty police cars over there before, when you actually had parking lot at the governmental center they could have parked them. Yeah. He still has a fleet of police cars out there now, sitting there now, today.
Well, I don't know.
And these aren't wrecked or junked or anything; they're just sitting there.
I can't manage their fleet. I don't have any idea how.
It's not a matter of managing the fleet, but it's like, are you to the point where the system of electing a sheriff isn't working, and maybe we should have a county police department? Isn't it about time we study that?
Something we could look at, yeah. But it has to be. It's up to them. Like I say, right now, as a commissioner, we fund them, and I can ask them questions about it. But he's the one that has to manage that, his department.
Well, if you had any other agency in the county that you're funding with a lack of results, like the sheriff's department, with crime out of control and police cars sitting there in the parking lot, wouldn't you be saying something to them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to talk about for this interview?
No. If you need to hear more information about me, go to randyguy.org, and I update that information on there quite a bit. And
the budget hearing tonight is...
Budget hearing is at Chapter County High School at 6:30 p.m.
Is that live?
Live. It will be live, yes.
Okay.
And also it'll be recorded. You'll be able to see it on YouTube, whatever, this weekend. It'll be broadcast again. I think it's Saturday. I'm not sure what time.
Okay.
But it'll be rebroadcasting. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Commissioner President Randy Guy, running for re-election to a third term here at Fitzy's Restaurant Marina. They open May 14th at noon. That's Saturday. All right. Thank you.